Hey guys, this is Dani.
And this is Dev.
And today we're going to be talking about long distance relationships, how they work, how to keep them working.
Yeah. How you associate that with dating poly and monogamous?
Just in general, yeah.
And just in general. I guess for me, I'll ask you this question. Do you think it's possible to have a successful relationship that is long term or long distance?
It can.
It can.
It'll probably take a whole lot of work, but it can.
It'll probably take a lot of work.
Yeah, it can. Yeah, but I'm pretty sure it can.
Yeah.
Anything's possible. So
I think that there is no difference between. No major difference between having a long distance relationship and having a relationship where you live in the same city. Obviously, here in Houston, it's a pretty large city. So a lot of people consider if you live up north in Humble and you live in Pearland, which is further south, that in itself is a long distance relationship because you live about 50 minutes away. So for me, I think there's no difference if it's like you live in Chicago and somebody lives in St. Louis, or if you live in Atlanta and somebody lives in, Memphis or something like that.
I still don't think, that's fine, but you're still in a separate city. That's not the same thing. So that takes a whole lot of work. Just because we live a 40-minute difference, that does not compare to 6 hours.
Okay, one will argue and say this. Okay, so the only difference between a long distance relationship and a regular relationship, if you did live in the same city, is the amount of time that y'all see each other.
Right. So my thing
Physical
is this,
time.
yeah, and so that's the thing. Like, you get a lot of honeymooning instead of real life. So sometimes you end up getting, like, I guess, a Hallmark version of that person when you do date long distance.
I think that's a fair point,
because you're so happy to see each other and this, that, and the third.
So what if you're in a place like this, or you're in a place like New York, or you're in a place like LA, where it's very large and widespread away from each other?
Yeah, but that's not the same thing.
We personally had experiences.
That's not a fair. I disagree. That's not a fair comparison.
So if you live in my same city and I don't see you at all week, but yet I have a long distance relationship with somebody and I see them once a week, you're saying that's because you live in my same city and you're so busy and I don't get a chance to see you all week long, and you live here.
I'm just looking at it from a more realist standpoint. 9 times out of 10, you're not visiting this person every week. The average person.
Well, okay. That's a fair argument, because obviously
it's kind of like, in a perfect world, some people are able to do that, and that's a little bit different, but
I think I will say this. I would think it'd be feasible or more feasible to have a long distance relationship if the distance wasn't as dramatic. Like, say you live in Houston and a person lives in Dallas. I think that
or San Antonio, 2 or 3 more, right. 2. Then that's something totally different.
That is different, because you can easily drive that on a regular basis. Actually, you could drive there multiple times a week, and it shouldn't cause a problem at all.
But if y'all like 8 hours and
12 hours
and all that type of stuff,
I think that does put more constraint on or restraint on the relationship itself. I guess I was just looking at it more so from the standpoint saying, like, okay, well, you have new technologies, you have the ability to be able to Skype and FaceTime and video chat in all kinds of ways, and you can talk to the person, and you can do that. And sometimes some people do that when they live in the same city. So it's kind of like I don't think it's impossible to have a successful relationship with them. I think, like you said, it requires more work.
Right, but it's nothing like that. Obviously, human to human contact. So
obviously,
because you're gonna need, you can do all the FaceTiming in the world.
Yeah.
But you need that, like, to really, Not saying, obviously, you can connect with a person and all that type of stuff, so definitely not saying that. What I'm saying is that to get that real,
that genuine connection,
right.
finality.
Right. You're into it, and you guys are still long distance, and you're basically still kind of, don't get me wrong, y'all can still have arguments and stuff like that, but, I'm talking about, like, I guess it's more so like like an actual relationship will actually go through some of those things you guys are missing.
Yeah, because obviously you have to actually have that physical relationship with. Okay, so I will say this, and this kind of ties into it. Okay, so you made a statement inside of one of our groups about being able to genuinely make a bond with somebody not necessarily being in person. So
right, but also I just said that doesn't mean that you can't have a connect. I literally
right.
just
Okay,
said
I'm just making sure because for me it's kind of like
what I'm saying is that for someone to say that they can't have a connection, that's disingenuous to say that.
right. Now
well, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm saying so. I'm not saying that you. That's why I make sure I said that. In a previous statement,
right.
that you got to have a connection.
Right. Okay. So
I mean, you can have a connection doing those things, being long distance, as long as you guys keep in communication.
Right.
That's just normal.
Right.
That's just a human thing. Eventually, you're gonna develop feelings and all that type of stuff for a person. So no one's saying that that's not going to happen. What I'm saying is that for the relationship aspect of it, it's going to be a little bit different than when somebody that you're seeing every 3 days.
But the development of the relationship.
Right. That's what I'm saying. The development is slower.
Right. So what about, because I'm playing devil's advocate right now.
And you being comfortable with that person to be just yourself.
What about the people who argue and say, well, all these people who claim to be busy in my city, and I don't get a chance to actually.
Well, those people don't want to talk to you. I mean, like I'm saying, like those people. That's just what that is.
Right.
I mean, those aren't people you really want to entertain anyway. They're busy. I don't want to entertain you.
That's true. So it really doesn't matter if it's a person in your same city, because I mean I look at it like
there's no excuse for you to be only seeing a person for once a week in your same city. That's why I say that doesn't even compare. If you're only seeing them like that, then I mean
the people who are busy,
yeah,
and it's kind of like
it's like what's the point? It's just that's not really you're not going to develop a relationship anyway, so it's kind of like whatever.
People make time for the things they want to make time for when it's all said and done. So it's like irrelevant that
normal people that's trying to develop a relationship, they're going to see each other more than once a week.
Right. Okay. So I guess the gist is a long distance relationship can be successful if you have, I guess, the necessary components and I
really don't think that there's a difference for the dynamic of relationships. Whatever type of relationship you desire or have, all that still applies under that same umbrella. Whether you are
monogamous or polyamorous,
all that goes in together. It doesn't really. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think that it is any more or less challenging if you are polyamorous versus monogamous?
No, not when it comes. No, not like I said. Not when it comes to long distance relationships. No, because what would be the difference? There is no difference.
Gotcha. Okay.
You're in a relationship and it's still long distance, so there's no. The same thing applies in a monogamous. Can't get the word out today. A mono relationship is the same thing that will apply to a poly relationship.
Right. Okay. Do you think that the dynamics, because and the only reason I'm just kind of like digging into it is just more so like just to make sure we get the specifics to the audience in general, is more so like, okay, so since poly is slightly different, do you think? I just throw a generic example out there, and I'll say, well, do you think it's slightly different? On the relationship when you have like a one-on-one monogamous relationship, meaning that you have one person here and then one person that is far away, and then what if you have an example of a couple that is dating somebody that is long distance? Do you think that dynamic of that long distance relationship is slightly different as far as its ability to be successful versus a one-on-one person, or do you think the same requirements are there regardless?
My thing is what would be the different requirements? It's still a relationship and it's still long distance. So whatever works even in a mono relationship should work in a poly relationship.
Okay, I mean I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just digging into to see if that's if
that's my look at it. That's my outlook on it. So I don't think what would be the difference. There's no super like there's no like it's because it's poly. There's no special. No, it's not.
I agree. I mean I don't disagree with that at all. So I mean I guess that's pretty much it. I mean it's not a too in-depth one. It's just pretty straightforward.
We really want to get you guys feedback though.
Yeah. For sure. I mean, have you ever tried to be in a long distance relationship? Yeah. Has it worked out?
I mean, there are success stories, so
plenty of success stories. I mean, I
do believe it takes more work.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Well, on that then, what do you think are like the main components to try to make a relationship work long distance versus
communication? It has to be like spot on. Mm-hmm. It has to be spot on. I'm not saying you really don't have as much room for miscommunication.
Right. That's true. I definitely
don't mean that it won't happen because like I said, we're all human, but that has to be spot on. You have to be like, you don't have room to be like, oh well, you know what? I'll just text this person whenever I get ready.
Right. Basically. I mean, not saying that you should do that in any relationship, but it does. You do have a little bit more responsibility on you to communicate a little bit more effectively when you're in a long distance relationship, because that's really what's keeping the relationship itself viable. Would you say,
and you have to have? I mean, your mental connection has to be that. Like again, but that's something that's still with the mono. Yeah. Your mental. But what I'm saying is that you should be able to find out even sooner.
Yeah.
If you guys, I mean, it's just.
Do you think that long distance relationships are something that are sustainable long term? Meaning that, do you think there should be an end goal to y'all living together or being in the same city at some point?
If you guys are trying to have an actual regular, relationship, then a traditional relationship, then yeah, that should be the goal. Yeah. Now, if that's not your goal, then obviously, I guess you do what you want to do.
Right. Obviously. Yeah, I agree with that. I definitely think that.
And that goes for whether it's monogamous or a poly relationship. Right. For as both of them, if you're still looking for a traditional, like you guys are going to end up in the same household one day, and all this type of stuff, then yeah, that should be. Yeah. Because you have a goal to actually be with this person. Right. So. Yeah,
I agree with that. To me, I don't see. I guess that's my own. Because we've dated long term. Not long term, long distance before, and it's. it is what it is. But I think that's the main hang up for me when it comes to long distance relationship is that has to be a fundamental goal or endpoint is that we all have to be functioning within the same city.
Now I don't think that you should up and move after knowing someone for only 3 or 4 months, 5 months. I think that even if it's long distance, yes, that just means y'all got at least a year.
But before that's even a topic of discussion, it just for me that has to be the end goal.
You're moving your whole life, so that's the difference. Yeah. So. Well, that's why I say at least a year, because you're literally moving your whole life.
Do you think that should be a conversation that should be had up front about if you're even willing to relocate? Because to me, I don't think.
Well, that definitely should be a conversation. Also, it should be a conversation if you're the couple or whoever. Don't matter if it's like I say, solo or whatever. To say, hey, well, but I don't want you moving here until a certain. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like I wouldn't want anyone to uproot their lives after months,
2 months,
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You don't even know. See, the thing about it is usually you don't even get to know people for 2 years, and that's people that's in your same city. Yeah. So imagine you being long distance. And then they move in with you, or they move to the same city, and then it's like this ain't what I thought it would be. Right. So those are things you may find out if you extend that a little bit longer before you uproot your life.
Now this is like a completely different subject altogether, but you mentioned something that made me kind of like, well, I'll just change the title of it and include this is what do you think about people who, like it started off long distance or even if it's not necessarily long distance, but I tend to see this a lot in the poly community when it is long distance, people allowing people, specifically couples, who are allowing people to move inside their house so quickly. It starts right. If we're gonna just keep it 100,
it doesn't make sense. It's not a smart decision.
At all.
I don't know who told you. It's not a smart decision.
To me, it seems like you're trying to rush the relationship to be what you want it to be.
That's no different than but plenty of people in regular relationships will do the same thing. Just move people into their house. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I agree with that. Whether you're in mono, whether you live in the same city.
What I'm saying, like a lot of these, it really crosses over.
Yeah, they're interchangeable for sure.
It's really no difference. Yeah. The only difference is how many people is in it. Before as the situations, there's no difference.
Yeah, I agree with that. It just for me, I guess I don't get the logic of moving somebody into your home, whether you're in a mono or a poly relationship, so quickly. It seems as if you're like I said before, you're trying to rush the relationship to be what you want it to be,
it doesn't
versus
make sense.
Building it to being what it actually can be.
You don't even get to know people
at all. You don't know nobody in 6 months. No, you don't know nobody really in a year.
I think that we moved in with each other. We were in the same city and we saw each other every day. Right. Since when we met, so that's even saying. Yeah. But it still takes time to get to know a person. Yeah, but it still was 2 years before we moved. Together. So yeah. Because we were still 2 years. We didn't move. We moved here in 2010. Right. So So I feel like it's a time and place for everything, literally. And it's kind of like I really don't think you should. I think you should move in with a person, obviously, before you marry and all that type of stuff. Yeah. But far as like moving in with a person you just met them, no.
I don't care. I don't care how great.
Now, I do think that y'all been together for a year and a half, 2 years. You know, hey, y'all should be thinking about moving in together because obviously you guys are thinking about, you know, having a long-term relationship.
Right.
So that only makes sense.
If that's what you want to do.
If
you want to live separately, that's completely fine.
Right. But I'm talking about like people that just want regular. We're just talking about like relationships. Yeah. I'm not talking about like unique relationships or you know what I'm saying, just regular relationships. I'm not talking about open relationships. I'm not talking about any of that. I'm just talking about regular relationships. Then you probably should be thinking about that. So that does make sense to move in with each other, but I don't think it makes sense to move in with someone after 6 months. No, after 6 months, 3 months, and all. I mean, I think that people confuse that those, and I guess you don't want to necessarily call them honeymoon stages, but they confuse those early stages of bliss. And then if you are, not to cut you off, but if you are long distance, that makes it even worse because kind of like, well, if you really calculate the time y'all really been together, right? Now that's the thing. Like, okay, great, you guys been together for 4 months, 5 months, but you only seen each other for
really like
time.
3
so
weeks.
Really, if you add up the math, you only really. So it just it doesn't.
And it's exacerbated once that person arrives into your city and to your home because you guys really don't have the type of foundation that it needs in order to be able to say, oh, it's time for us to
and also
make
you
that
can't
next
be
move.
doing and also if you got more fighting going on in your long distance relationship, you know, let me move.
Yeah.
That's not gonna work.
No. Well, most people do that.
My thing is this. How you gonna be breaking up and you long distance? Y'all should be like, you're not even around like that to be break back and forth. Yeah. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah. But it's a common thing.
Yeah, whether it's minor or whatever, it doesn't make sense. So it's kind of like, what's the point?
Yeah. I agree. Well, I mean, that's just elaborating on that because kind of like it just falls into moving in and stuff like that. Well, you know, I'm talking about the foundation part. Because obviously the foundation is very loose. Yes. Well, loose. It's gravel.
It was constructed very. It was not leveled. It was not leveled when it was being built. So it's kind of like it doesn't make sense. Yeah. It doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's So
again, guys, tell us what you think. Like, comment, and subscribe.
For sure. Peace.